Petra, and all these other places. This is body tissues. These are bodily tissues they cut, and they turn them into rooms, walls, and all that stuff. You see that? If you know how to look at things, you can see this is tissue. That's tissue. Those are layers of tissue. And they just chiseled it down and made it out of here. Now this is, I don't know what it was a heart or whatnot, but you could see. You see the layering? It's still in there. It didn't go anywhere. Okay, my friends, everybody's asked, how did you get into this? How did you start to be so confrontational to everybody about this mud fossil stuff? Well, I discovered them in 2012, and I started getting real deep into it. Now, what I am going to do, I had a fella contact me from Australia, and this is a little video he made, and I am going to show this to you, and he wants to present my stuff, and I want him to. So listen to this and watch. All right, he's talking about down in Sampiata, Bolivia, and places that I've covered, and all the mud fossils, and they had high-tech equipment there. And here's your blood, and whenever you see blood, you're usually going to see something red or lichen next to it. Usually moss loves the blood. See it? Now, and the blood comes right out of the rocks. They're coming out of getting gushes out of rocks. So I'm not going to tell you blood doesn't come out of rocks. There's high-tech equipment they were using here, cutting slabs of wet flesh. These were wet flesh right after the flood. Now, they had equipment. They knew what they were doing. They made walls out of them. And they made some really fancy ones, and they made some really crummy ones. Now, but they cut it while it was wet. And this is Tendon. This is, I know it's Tendon. Now, they took this mountain of this stuff. And you see, this is mineralization, and the rest is bloody stuff. This is not built, this is excavated. They cut these out of here. And you're going to see places, he did a nice job showing where there's blood inside. No way they could put the blood inside. The blood is being coated by this fabric, which is called fascia. Now, it goes around lungs and hearts and all that. See, there's blood in here? And this is the fascia. You see the fascia? Now, this is not hard to see when you start looking. They took this whole mountain, and they sent out a whole ton of guys, and they said excavate it. They cut through the fascia into where the blood was. Then they used the blood for whatever they used. You know, I don't know why they made those little divots in there, but they did it all over the place in these things. This is all mining of wet giant's flesh. Now, you see what you have here? I don't know what this was originally. This is something, they knew what they were doing, and they knew that this was something that they could mine in such a way that these globs would come out and build something. What they built, I don't know. Because it doesn't look like they built it here. They moved these from here to somewhere else, I believe. Now, I found all kinds of other places where they did this, and then right behind it, you can see they built the walls and so forth. This I don't see. Maybe the walls are here or over here. I don't know. This is inside the treasury at Petra. You see this? This at one time was wet, and I think they drilled holes in here to get rid of the wet. You see up in here? Or that could have just been natural. But this stuff would have to dry out. When they cut into here, it was still moist. They just chiseled it away with their fingernails. All right, somebody sent me this. I don't know who the young lady is, but stop paying attention to her. Watch the wall. Stop paying. Enough of that. Now, what is this little sharp edges here? That's not natural. That's not going to happen. Well, here's what happened here. This guy, Pedro Morales, what he did was he took tendons like this. You see that? That's a tendon ball. You see that? And there are just thousands of them in these tendon clusters. I'll show you what they look like in a living creature. Now, you see all these little fibrils things? This is the inversion of this, which sometimes they come black, sometimes they come white with black fibers, sometimes they're black with white fibers. This was a special edition because it's very rare. This is rare. I have some here. You know, you get this kind of stuff. but it's not normally in a tendinous material, and I'm pretty sure this is tendon. But at any rate, these are not natural. No in the world. So this guy was cutting them, placing them, cutting them, placing them, and taking the biggest ones and using the sharpest, nicest edges, and then fitting the next ones in. Very, very talented. This guy was well known amongst his peers. I can guarantee you that. Look at that. You'd have to. There's no other way. Because somebody sent me this and said they think they might be growing. That these rocks are growing here. How could this be? Because they look really like cells growing. I mean, they really honestly do. I agree. However, that's not the case. These were fitted in here by somebody that really was very, very, very good at what they did. And not only did they make these sharp cuts, they molded them in as they did it. They forced them all in and I was watching them work with stones the other day. Absolutely phenomenal. Making spheres. Unreal what they can do. It's very skilled craftsmen. You see that? That's blood. Well, let me show you something. See, thought I was kidding? Look, they used this bloody wall right here. This is the guy's bone. That's the blood. You see, this is it right here, blown up. This guy here was a loser who did this work. He was just, probably they would put these kids out here, try to learn. But look at the stuff they were using. What a mess. Now, maybe they were just making these walls to learn. I don't know. Because I'm trying to figure out what purpose did these things serve. But they get better and better. Or I don't know if they do or not. But they're not good here. Not compared to that other guy. All right, these are the kind of things we're looking at, these tendon balls. And they are a little bit different in different areas, like in your shoulder versus your ankle versus your girdle, your stomach area, and so forth. They implant into tissues or bones and so forth with these balls. And the balls are very spiky, and they still are attached to blood sources and so forth, but they really anchor in, and then they have a little fiber that comes out. Now they're called tendon enthesis. Here's a tendon. I got so much on this stuff. Tendon enthesis. Here it is right here. And here's how they develop. When the expression of them is inside your bones, and wherever they're going to be expressed, there's a cellular expression gene that turns it on and says, okay, I'm a certain type of tendon. And that tendon starts to grow its minerals. See minerals? Now, as those minerals start to grow, they embed that tendon. I mean, they embed the damn thing in there. And the strap goes out to the muscles or whatever it's pulling against. And that thing these are just as tough can be. And these have all these, hold on, I have one here. Hold on. There's one right here. This is a tendon that's exposed. You see that? That's the tendon fibrils. That's this fibrous stuff right here. Exactly what that is. And there's a ton of them in here. There's more over here, more over here. See that? That's blood. That's a strap that comes out. And that is a tendon ball right there. Now watch. I'm going to put a little water on here. I know I'm running long here. People don't like to wait around. Look at that. You see how quick that turns red? And that's 10 years it's been laying around here. I've been working on these things. And I made that turn red 20 times. Minimum. You see that? See how red that is? And that ball goes right in there. It's one of these balls. And there's a strap that runs down and runs right in there. Boom. And there was another one here, and it anchored here somewhere. And this one here has a strap that runs back somewhere. You see the vein and artery are here. That's the vein, the black, and that's the artery. The arteries usually clear out or fill with quartz. That's why they say veins of gold. Well, they are. They're veins or arteries, and there's gold in them that collects due to specific gravity. I understand this stuff extremely well now. That's a toe. Oh, Roger, come on. There can't be a toe. Yes, it is. And that, my friend, is the blood at the tip of the toe, the arterial side. And that, my friend, is the bone at the bottom of the toe. That's all that's left there. And the reason it's turned into metals is because it was in a certain specific gravity area where the blood backed up coming out of here in a clotting manner. And then the really soluble stuff kept coming through here, and what was left was the metals. The metals just collected in there, and the fluids ran out. I have another one here. This one here is this is a toe as well. All right. Now this one here, you see that? That's the guy's callus. That's the callus on the guy. Now this one, the blood ran out here and collected. That's all blood. Blood is very, very, very tenuous. And that's the last most things that are left is the blood. You see the blood ran out here? Same thing here. Now this is the gold here. This was in a different depth or in a different chemistry or whatnot. But this one, they just do that. Some of them end up being solid metal and some of them end up being solid dirt, basically. It depends on the chemistry they're in. And I've checked virtually every type of chemistry. I haven't, like, this is a heart. All right, now, and normally that's going to be like, I got another one here somewhere. This one here. Normally it's going to be red when it's done. And it's going to have holes in there where the valves, this one, the blood coagulated inside and left some of the spaces empty, and that filled up with quartz. This, everything left and filled everything with quartz, 100%. Zero left of organic matter. All there is, well, this is still organic, but all there was fibrous stuff left. This kept the blood and everything else. Now, why did this end up in this condition and this one not? Well, it ends up being, was this downwind of the kidneys or the liver or some bile or whatever? I don't know. I have no idea. So, none of these things are understood at all yet. This is all brand new. That's why I can't, this is fun. I can't see anybody not wanting to look into this. And it's not hard to do, and it's not really all that expensive either. You need a little microscope, you really do. The microscope makes a big difference. And it's like this thing right here. You could, this is a good one. This is a Celestron. I think they're a little more money. Then I have, I have all the fancy stuff too. You don't need something like this. I have that right there. And that does like skyrocket stuff, 15 megabyte, or whatever it is. I don't ever use it. I don't ever use it. I don't never use that. I use this baby right here because that thing works fabulous. I can get like 3D shots on this from a foot away. It really, really works well. Anyway, this is a new science. It needs to be taken as a new science. I can answer most questions, and it's Mudfossil University on YouTube. It's free, and I'm not trying to make any money on it. I just want to get it done. Now, this guy that is from Australia, let's see, there's a bone. And the blood inside turns black. It's ferritin, black, bone black they call it. Anyway, so I'm going to let this guy from Australia try to help me present this. And hopefully we can get it in a discussion mode. That's all I'm asking for, is a discussion mode. If it's wrong and I'm crazy and this isn't a goose, well then I'm a silly goose. That's all. But I say that's a goose, and I say that goose has feathers in its head. Might be a mallard duck, I don't know what it is. But I can say one thing, it is a fowl of some form, an avian creature. And that right there, that round spot, is his neck. And it died, as almost all the things I have presented, in what I would consider a giant flood. And it died flat on the ground. This side of his face was up and is still recognizable. The neck came over like this and this way, snapped here, but at the bottom was flat, laying, it would have been straight out this way. And there is his neck. Now, in the microscope, you can see all this stuff extremely well. I mean, it's not hard. You can see all of the texture of the feathers, of the fascia, of the interstition, of the pleura, of the lungs, of the vugs. You see this right here? I'm going to do one of these on vugs. And you say, vugs, what is a vug? Well, a vug is these little holes. And you say, well, what are the holes all about? It says, first of all, it's a lung. Secondly, the holes are what they call vugs. Thirdly, what happens inside of these lung holes is that's where blood travels, where blood collects all your transition metals. Your transition metals are what creates crystals. And the crystals collect in these vugs. And when they start to grow, they grow into little diamond-looking things, and which is one right there. You can't see it, but I'll see that's filled up, and that's a vug, a crystal. And they're all over in here. When you see them in a microscope, down deep in these big cavities, they're all over the place. I took my kids up to Herkimer Mines. That's what they have too. It's the exact same thing. They have lungs up there that have cavities, or they have something up there that has vugs in it. And the vugs collect the quartzite crystals. They look more, some quartz crystals come in look like tube-looking things, more like looking like this. All right, where they, or looking like what I showed you before. I think I showed you this right here. Or gnarly looking. But when they form inside of a vug, that vug literally has some form of a transition metal, and that's what starts the crystals. And as it takes on the cubic or the whatever shape it's coming, then it starts to grow in that form, and it looks like a crystal. That's why they call them diamonds. They are still quartzites, quartz material, silica. Really, I believe it's silica.